The story of this F1 driver has gone from being one of the fans' favourites to being an object of ridicule. Now he has become a public mess, a meme to society at large. Latifi has progressed from being a terrible driver to perhaps the worst driver recently. What is the situation with Latifi, and does he have a future in Formula 1? Let's find out. Latifi, 27, debuted in Formula 1 with Williams in the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix and made 55 appearances for the team. Latifi, described by team principal Jost Capito as a fantastic team player, earned his maiden championship points in the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. I'd want to take this opportunity to thank everyone at Williams Racing, both at the factory and trackside, for the previous 3 years. Latifi said, "My F1 debut was delayed owing to the pandemic, but we ultimately got underway in Austria, and while we haven't reached the results we planned for as a team, it's been a tremendous trip. Getting those first points in Hungary last year was a moment I'll never forget, and I'll carry unique memories of my time with this committed squad into the next stage of my career. I know none of us will relent in our efforts till the season is over." Latifi exits Formula 1 after scoring 7 points in 3 seasons, with the best race result of 7th place. In his first 16 starts in 2022, he failed to score. Questions regarding the Canadian's contract began to surface during the first half of the 2022 season, when he became the only driver without a point by the time summer break arrived. Then, on August 3rd, it was announced that Alex Albon had signed a multi-year agreement with the squad. Following Albon's extension announcement, ESPN stated the Mercedes-backed Formula E driver Nick de Vries was a potential candidate for Latifi's seat, with Williams F2 driver Logan Sargent having an outside shot. According to ESPN, de Vries is a strong prospect for the position after filling in for Latifi's colleague Alex Albon at the Italian Grand Prix and scoring points in his debut. Alpine and AlphaTauri are also interested in the 27-year-old's services in 2023. Sargent, a 21-year-old American driver, is scheduled to participate in a practice session for Williams in the United States Grand Prix this fall. With Albon securely in control of one of the team's seats, Williams said Friday that the team's entire 2023 driver lineup will be announced in due time. Latifi, of course, will not be demoted or replaced anytime soon. He is at Williams mostly because of the money he contributes to the squad through his wealthy father's Sofina Foods company, rather than his merit. It is not unusual in Formula 1 for affluent drivers to have paid their way to the sport's top. Others have been extremely good, but others have also been quite poor. Latifi raced in Formula 2 for 3 years until being runner-up in 2019. As many others have done, he used his winnings to buy a seat at Williams. Not to mention that Niki Lauda was a paid driver to get into F1. Before he cracked it, he had to seek a bank loan to race in Formula 2 in March 1971. Willy Webber persuaded Mercedes to pay Jordan for none other than Michael Schumacher to make his Grand Prix debut 2 decades later. Paying to enter F1 works, but once there, the moment must be grabbed and utilized, as those two legends did previously. Latifi linked up with George Russell for his debut season in 2020, with the record suggesting that after 2 years together, Latifi was never near to his highly rated younger adversary. Still, the Englishman is regarded as a prodigy, but Latifi has nowhere to hide with Alex Albon as his colleague. He should be able to compete with him, if not beat him. The Thai driver is seeking a return after being humiliated by Red Bull colleague Max Verstappen. Albon was the king of karting, but his success in F1 did not translate, at least not to the level of Max Verstappen, the actual standard driver of this period. As a result, the rivalry between Latifi and Albon will be both exciting and informative. Nonetheless, Latifi has 2 high-profile race-impacting incidents on his record: Abu Dhabi last year and Saudi Arabia not long ago. This begs the question, does Nicholas Latifi deserve to be in F1? Is the sport really for him, or should he begin searching for a different occupation? When questioned if Latifi is F1 material, French driver David Terrian responded, "His accident at Yas Marina a few laps before the conclusion of the 2021 season, as well as his crash in Jeddah last weekend, altered the game for the 2021 championship and the race's completion last Sunday in Jeddah." Latifi is not and has never been the great talent who has blasted away opponents at every level on his road to Formula 1. He never won a championship and has few race victories while racing in lesser classes with decent teams and cars. Latifi could never compete with excellent teammates like Alex Albon and Nick de Vries. Despite the hammering, F1 great Mark Kay looked to have a spark of faith in him. "Yes, Nicholas Latifi deserves an F1 seat," he stated. "Any driver must satisfy 2 commitments to race in F1: meet the qualifications for an FIA super license and have significant commercial support for a team to be interested." Despite spending several years in GP2 and F2, Nicholas Latifi finished second in the championship in 2019 after winning 4 races. The only driver higher in points was the highly ranked Mercedes youngster Nick de Vries, who also won 4 races. Regardless of whether his business backing is drawn from family money, Latifi qualified for a super license with flying colors. Of course, it may seem obvious that Latifi will never be a Formula 1 world champion, but that is true for most drivers who ever make it to the F1 grid. However, Latifi has come under increased public attention due to his high-profile safety car-causing collision during the 2021 season finale in Abu Dhabi that we will never forget, and most recently in the last race at Jeddah. Therefore, in the grand scheme of things, it hardly seems fair to pass judgment on Latifi's fitness to race in F1 based on these isolated events. It would be a more equitable assessment to reflect that Latifi was teamed with the extremely highly rated George Russell in the 2 seasons of 2020 and 2021, with both drivers failing to finish a Grand Prix due to collision damage 5 times apiece. Aside from the reactions of F1 fans, Nicholas Latifi has disclosed that he got death threats after his incident at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He stated that he knew the cruel world of social media would be troublesome, so he has purposefully been keeping away from social media to kind of let things calm down from the events of the last race, including removing Twitter and Instagram from his phone. He claimed that he received thousands of messages in public and private, adding that while most were encouraging, he also received a lot of hate and abuse. Latifi felt that rather than remaining silent, he would be better off speaking out about online bullying, since using social media as a means to attack somebody with messages of hate, abuse, and threats of violence are disturbing. The subsequent vitriol, abuse, and threats on social media came as no surprise to me, since it's just the stark truth of the society we live in right now, Latifi added. I'm no stranger to being spoken about adversely online. Every athlete that competes on the international stage understands they're under great scrutiny, and this often comes with the territory. However, as we've seen time and again across all sports, it only takes one incident at the wrong time to completely blow things out of proportion and bring out the worst in people who call themselves fans. What shocked me was the extreme tone of the hate, abuse, and even death threats I received. Though Latifi apologized after the race for unwittingly influencing what transpired with his collision, this was universally seen as a charming but unneeded behavior. He admits that the only people he needed to apologize to were his teammates for the collision, that anything else that happened after was out of his control. As a successful athlete, Latifi appreciates the need for thick skin, but he believes many remarks step the line into something far more severe following Abu Dhabi, and he wants to utilize his experience to make others think twice and not act in this manner in the future, since he understands that a bad comment always seems to stick out more and may often be enough to drown out 100 positive ones. What do you think of Latifi? Do you think he deserves to remain in F1? Comment below.